Aloha mai kākou, e nā hoa makamaka mai ka la hiki a ka la kau. Velina nui me ke aloha. Mahalo nui no ke ako ko ana no kākou, no ka pono o ka la hui, no ka pono o ka aina, a me ka pono o ka vai no hoi. Ea he o lalo no e ao, e kālele ana I ke ko'i o ka vai a me ka aina ke kahi. Hahai no ka ua I ka ulula ao. Rain always follows the forest. As the rains are attracted to forest trees, knowing this, Hawaiians hewed only the trees that were needed. Welcome everyone to today's September 22nd, 2025 regular meeting of the Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Before beginning today's meeting, I'd like to state that our board is dedicated to providing safe, dependable, and affordable water now and into the future. At this time, we'd like to share a brief recording with reminders on public participation, as well as virtual meeting regulations for board members as required by law.
Materials for this meeting under HRS Section 92-7.5 are accessible at boardofwatersupply.com/boardmeetings. The public may attend this meeting in person at the BWS Public Service Building, located at 630 South Beretania Street. The public may also view a live stream of today's meeting on our website at boardofwatersupply.com/live. We have been accepting written or oral testimony for today's meeting. Instructions and an online submittal form are available at boardofwatersupply.com/testimony. The deadline to submit advanced written testimony has passed. Testimony received by noon today have been distributed to the board members. We will continue to accept written testimony today through our online form. Oral testimony in person or remotely will be accepted during today's meeting. To facilitate as much in-person and remote testimony as reasonably possible during the time allotted, pre-registration and submittal of a written version of testimony at boardofwatersupply.com/testimony is strongly encouraged. To testify in person, please register using our online form or come to the Public Service Building at 630 South Beretania Street. We have a representative in the lobby to provide intake and further instructions. To request to testify remotely, please complete the online form at boardofwatersupply.com/testimony. Requesters will receive an email containing links and instructions to join the Zoom session. Testifiers will have 2 minutes to state their position. A timekeeper will alert testifiers when there is 1 minute remaining. Once the 2 minutes are up, please summarize to allow time for questions from the board. Then, make room for the next testifier. Board members attending any board meeting remotely must be visible to the public to be considered present and meet quorum guidelines. Board members participating remotely must also disclose their location and anyone present at their location during roll call. Meeting participants who are calling or video conferencing in, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. If you have a question, comment, or wish to enter or second a motion on an action item, please unmute your microphone and identify yourself before continuing to speak. If you encounter technical issues during today's meeting, please use the Zoom chat to send a direct message to our support team. Their names are listed in the message to all participants. To open the chat window, please click on the text bubble icon on the Zoom toolbar.
All right, thank you. Let's take a moment to take a roll call of the board members. When I call your name, please say aye. And if attending remotely, make the appropriate disclosures. Board member Brian Andaya.
Hi, I'm at home in a room alone.
Hello, Brian. Thank you. Board member Gene Albano.
I am home in my room alone.
Thank you, Gene. Aloha. In the boardroom with me today is Vice Chair Jonathan Kaneshiro.
Here.
Aloha. Excused today are board members Lance Wilhelm and board member Edwin Sniffen. Also in the room with us today are manager Ernie Lau.
Aloha.
Aloha. Deputy Manager Erwin Kawata.
Here.
Aloha. Manager Secretary Kim Kawai. Hello, Kim. Board Secretary Joey Cruz-Achu.
Here.
Aloha. Information Specialist Wayne Maria.
Here.
Also joining us by Zoom are Jessica Wong and Jeff Lau, both from City and County Corp Council. Hello, everyone. We have 5 items on our action agenda today. Item number 1, requiring board action, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held August 25th, 2025. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
It's been moved by John
Second,
and
This is
seconded by
Brian.
Brian. Thank you, Brian. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Vice Chair Jonathan Panachiro.
Aye.
Board Member Brandon Zaya.
aye.
Board Member Gina Alvano.
Aye.
And Chair Nalego Anthony.
Aye.
Chair, motion passes with 4 ayes.
Thank you very much. Please note for the record. Moving on to item number 2, adoption of resolution number 1002, 2025. Mark Chun, 2025 Manager of the Year. Chair recognizes Manager Lau.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to ask the head of our Water Resources Division, Mr. Barry Usagawa, to help me by reading off the resolution. And Mark, if you don't mind coming to the front.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Manager Lau. I have the honor to read this resolution for Mark. So whereas Mark S. Ochan, Assistant Program Administrator of the Water Resources Division, has been selected as the Board of Water Supplies Manager of the Year 2025. Whereas Mr. Chun oversees and integrates the day-to-day work of employees responsible for strategic water resources, infrastructure, and sustainability programs. And whereas the significant and consistent program successes of Mark and his team ensure that capital improvement and long-range water resource plans enable sensible and timely expansion of water system capacity to provide safe, dependable, and affordable water supply to Oahu's water users now and into the future. And whereas he effectively motivates his dynamic and cooperative and cohesive work group to excellence so they can become future administrators aligned with the BWS's mission. And whereas this exceptional supervisor and his mid-level managers partnered with BWS Human Resources staff to develop and implement Watership, a successful summer internship program for 5 college students who were immersed in real-life BWS's challenges to gain practical career skills and experience in working at the Board of Water Supply to build up future job recruitment proposals. And whereas outside of work, Mr. Chung volunteers as a lay pastor at Hope Chapel Pro West, still does, where for many years he has served the community and its youth ministry. And whereas Mark has proven himself to be a dedicated, dependable, and skillful manager who leads by example and personifies attributes that employees desire in their leaders, earning the respect of his subordinates, colleagues, and BWS management. Whereas Mr. Chun's selection as the 2025 Manager of the Year and his nomination as a City Manager of the Year have brought pride and honor to BWS and all of his family and friends. Now and therefore, be it resolved by the members of the Board of Water Supply, City and County of Honolulu, that we hereby do express to Mark Chun our heartfelt appreciation for his outstanding service to the department and the City and County of Honolulu. And be it further resolved that the members of this board express our sincerest congratulations upon his selection as the Board of Water Supply Manager of the Year. And be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Mr. Chun with our warmest aloha and best wishes for all his future endeavors. And Mark, thank you very much. I'm sure you're not too comfortable standing up here, but yeah, I don't need it.
Chair, if I could just say, I've known Mark a long time, and when I first came back to the board, I asked him to take on a project, our energy savings performance contracting project, over $30 million and many years of effort. And Mark, he did a great job. I know it was trials and tribulations through that project, but you saw it through. So mahalo, good job. Thank you, Mark.
I think it's just to add a little bit, Mark, this is really important when we're talking about the legacy of an institution that's almost 100 years old, that people are taking up these roles to help to move these long legacy things forward. And so we thank you for all of your effort and for the hard work, and this is well deserved. So thank you very much. We also need to vote on this, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move. This is
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Brian and seconded by John. Hearing no other discussion, roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Vice Chair Jonathan Conachero.
Aye.
Board Member Brian Anzaya.
aye.
Board Member Gino Vano.
Aye.
And Chair Nalego Anthony.
Aye.
Chair, motion passes with 4 ayes.
Thank you. Please note for the record.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item requiring board action number 3, adoption of resolution number 1003, 2025. Jessica Yee, 2025 Employee of the Year. Chair recognizes Manager Love.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm also going to invite the Assistant Program Administrator for our Water System Operations Division, Carrie Watanabe, to read the resolution. Thank you, Carrie. And Jessica, could you come up, please?
Good afternoon, everybody. Jessica Yee, 2025 Employee of the Year. Whereas Jessica Yee, Mechanical Engineer 3 in the Plant Operations Branch of the Water System Operations Division, has served with exceptional dedication and performance since joining the Board of Water Supply in 2015, and has been selected as a 2025 BWS Employee of the Year. Ms. Yee has consistently taken on responsibilities far beyond her role and is recognized for reliability and positive attitude over 9 years of service, always rising to meet urgent and complex challenges with professionalism and resolve. And Ms. Yee has played a key role in managing the emergency replacement of a failed pump at the Mililani Wells 4 facility, restoring water to the Mililani Mauka community, and is actively working to enhance system redundancy and additional upgrades. And Ms. Yee regularly collaborates across divisions, including capital projects, water resources, water quality, and field operations to ensure coordinated and effective solutions for the BWS water system. Ms. Yee has led the coordination of distribution system operations, training, track staff progress, and assisted them with preparing for certification exams, demonstrating her commitment to workforce development and continuous learning. Ms. Yee has also given back to the community, Waterworks community, through her volunteer work managing the annual BWS Baratania Christmas Light Display and organizing the Top Ops competition at the Pacific Water Conference. Whereas the nomination of Ms. Yee acknowledges her outstanding dedication, technical excellence, and contributions that uphold the mission of the BWS and reflect great credit upon herself and the department. And now therefore be it resolved by the members of the Board of Water Supply, City and County of Honolulu, that we do hereby express to Jessica Yee our sincere appreciation for her outstanding service to the department and the City and County of Honolulu. Be it further resolved that members of the board express to Jessica Yee our sincere congratulations upon her selection as the Board of Water Supply Employee of the Year for 2025. And finally resolved that this resolution be presented to Ms. Yee with our heartfelt aloha, best wishes for continued success in all her future endeavors. Adopted this 22nd day of September, 2025.
I just wanted to add, the city and county has a program called the Po'okela program, where they give an opportunity for students in college to actually work at the city for a few months and work alongside other city employees. And Jessica has been a big supporter of the Polo Kettle program.
Awesome.
For how many years did you actually mentor the Polo Kettle students?
3, I think.
3 years. And were you a Polo Kettle student yourself? So thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
Helping to prepare the next generation of BWS students. Thank you.
Members, any comments? You know, oh, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say congratulations. Really proud and happy that we celebrate the loyalty and service of everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I was just going to add that, you know, as we see increased competition in the workforce, it's so important to engage in these programs like the Paul Keller program to be able to let kids understand what this is all about. I came in as an intern actually in college back when they had stone tablets that they carved out with actual symbols in the comms department. Yeah, yeah, and you know that was like an entry point even back then. So I think it's a really important thing. So I would encourage you to keep being an advocate in that way. It's important we keep engineering kids here. So thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. I will second.
I'm gonna take Jean's as a second, so moved by John and seconded by Jean. Roll call vote, please.
Chair, Vice Chair Jonathan Kanashiro.
Aye.
Board Member Brian Ataya.
Aye.
Board Member Gina Hanu.
Aye.
And Chair Nalegu Anthony.
Aye.
Chair motion passes with 4 ayes.
Thank you. Please note for the record. Okay, moving on to item number 4, adoption of resolution number 1004, 2025, Wayne Tello, 2025 Employee of the Year. Before I recognize Ernie, I think they said that Wayne is online today watching us.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. But Wayne is also he comes and delivers our water main report most months. And so when he's back here, we're going to celebrate him one more time at the next meeting. So Wayne, this does not get you off the hook for celebrations just because you're home watching online today. Manager Lai.
Thank you, Chair. I'll read the resolution whereas Wayne Tello, Water Service Superintendent in Field Operations Division, has been selected as the Board of Water Supply Employee of the Year for 2025. And whereas Mr. Tello has dedicated more than 5 decades of distinguished and remarkable service to the BWS, beginning his career in 1972 as a pipefitter helper and rising through the ranks to leadership, where his calm judgment and technical expertise have been instrumental in providing reliable water service to nearly 1 million residents on Oahu. And whereas throughout his career, Mr. Tello has been instrumental in addressing main breaks of every scale, from complex 42-inch diameter transmission mains to smaller but urgent service line leaks. His willingness to act quickly under pressure has prevented extended water disruptions and ensured reliable service for residents and businesses across Oahu. And whereas his steadfast leadership, tireless pursuit of solutions, and unshakable composure during critical water emergencies have earned him the respect of BWS personnel at every level, while his influence as a mentor has shaped generations of pipefitters and supervisors, instilling a culture of safety, professionalism, and pride. And whereas Mr. Tello has also demonstrated forward-thinking leadership and innovative practices, such as the use of couplings for concrete cylinder repairs as an initiative that improve efficiency, reduce costs, and strengthen the long-term resilience of Oahu's water infrastructure. And whereas in recognition for his extraordinary service and leadership, Mr. Tello has been named as the 2025 Board of Water Supply Employee of the Year and will go on to represent the Board of Water Supply in the upcoming City Employee of the Year recognition ceremony, bringing pride and honor to the department, his family, and his friends, and now therefore be it resolved by the members of the Board of Water Supply, City and County of Honolulu, that we do here express to Wayne Tello our heartfelt appreciation for his exemplary service to the department and to the City and County of Honolulu. And be it further resolved that the members of the board of this board express their sincere congratulations upon his selection as the Board of Water Supply Employee of the Year for 2025. And be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Mr. Tello with our warmest aloha and best wishes for all his future endeavors. And I guess, Chair, when he comes back to work and can be here at the next board meeting, we'll give him the resolution then.
Yeah, the resolution, Malay, and take the picture. And then I think we also, we would like to assign Wayne some homework now for the next meeting. Which is that over the course of the 5 decades that you mentioned, what stands out for him as having worked at the Board of Water Supply, what are some of the more memorable moments? We'd ask for him to share that with us.
Wayne, did you get that?
We'll send an email as well to follow up.
Okay.
But it goes without saying that we want to thank him for his service and for his making sure that we have water to drink, and that these whether they're big or small, that they've spent so much time and attention to this. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah.
Thanks, Wayne.
Say something.
I just want to say congratulations, Mark, Jessica, and Wayne. Coming up in my industry, a lot of people don't, take it for granted, the utility of water, right? And the accomplishment listed is just unbelievable. So congratulations and thank you for your service and loyalty, everyone, actually, but namely Mark, Jessica, Wayne.
Yeah.
Thank you. Members, any other comments? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Jean moved, John seconded, roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Vice Chair Jonathan Kanashiro,
Aye.
Board Member Brian Daya,
Aye.
Board Member Gino Hano.
Aye.
And Chair Nale Guempe.
Aye.
Chair, motion passes with 4 ayes.
Awesome. Please note for the record. And just want to echo Vice Chair's sentiment. Congratulations to you all for your recognition today, but thank you for all of the hard work that has done on all these years to keep the water safe and clean and accessible to all. Mahalo nui. Another round of applause for all. Okay, moving on to item number 5, adoption of resolution number 1005, 2025, reimbursement of the capital expenditures from the proceeds of indebtedness. Chair recognizes Yan Matsumoto. Aloha.
Good afternoon, Chair and members. My resolution is not as inspiring as the last 3, but nevertheless important. We recommend the adoption of resolution number 1005, 2025, declaring the official intent of the Board of Water Supply of the City and County of Honolulu to reimburse itself for certain capital expenditures from the proceeds of indebtedness. The resolution establishes a time limit for reimbursement of capital expenditures at 18 months. This brings the Board of Water Supply into compliance with Section 1.150 of the U.S. Treasury regulations and does not bind the board to make any expenditure, incur any indebtedness, or proceed with the project. The resolution establishes a limit of $283,327,500, which is the 2026 Capital Improvement Program. This reimbursement resolution is requested annually to allow Board of Water the flexibility to free up cash as needed to reimburse the operating CIP fund once we issue tax-exempt bonds. This year is particularly important as we may want to utilize this resolution if the Kailaloa project needs additional funding. Your consideration would be greatly appreciated. Does anybody have questions?
Members, any questions? Hearing none.
This
John,
this is an annual adoption that basically
Yes.
authorizes the board to
Mhm.
reimburse.
When we issue bonds.
Right, okay, but specifically related to the desal.
No, we're just making sure that this resolution is implemented so that in case the Kailaloa, because we did budget for it in this year using WIFIA funds. And in case the WIFIA funds don't get executed right away and we need additional funds, we might use cash.
But why is sorry, I'm just curious, why is it capped at the last year's capital expenditure?
This year's capital expenditure, so it's for fiscal year 26. Yeah. So anything budgeted in fiscal year 26 CIP.
I mean, like next year, you guys would try to change it depending on,
We'll do another resolution next year
Yes.
and annually, so for,
just change the number.
yeah, the CIP budget at that time.
Yeah, okay,
So that'll be for FY 27,
Mhm.
next year's board meeting.
yeah,
Yeah, so this gives us an important tool, an option to be able to reimburse ourselves.
thank you.
any other comments, questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
I'm gonna take Brian, he went first, moved by John, seconded by Brian. Let's go ahead and roll call vote, please.
Thank you, Chair. Vice Chair Jonathan Panachiro, Board Member Brandon Taya,
I,
Board Member Gina Vano,
Aye.
Chair Nolly Glensley.
Aye,
Motion passes with 4 ayes.
thank you. Please note for the record. Good luck trying not to spend it all in one place. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne.
Okay, moving on to items for information. We have 4 items today for information. Our first is the update of the Board of Water Supply's response to the potential impacts of Red Hill fuel contamination. I just want to pause for a second here. Everyone is welcome to stay in the gallery and hang out, but if you have stuff that you have to do to get back to work, you're welcome to do that as well at this point. I'm not kicking anybody out, but I don't want anyone to feel like they're on the spot because we just kept moving on the meeting.
Don't run out of the room so fast.
This may or may not be the most exciting thing that happens today, but
Thank you, Justin.
thank you so much. And with that, Chair recognizes Joyce Lynn for our update on Red Hill. Hello, Joyce.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, board members. This is the September 2025 Red Hill update. Manager Lau and I applied to be on the Pearl Harbor Hickam Kailaloa Restoration Advisory Board last year, or RAP for short. And during the August 27th meeting, the existing board members, which include community members and Navy representatives, voted in favor of us joining the RAB. So although we are both non-voting members, this is actually a great opportunity for us to better understand and be part of the restoration efforts around the island, which includes the PFAS investigation at Red Hill. Also on August 29th, 2 civilian workers, you may have seen this in the media and news, 2 civilian workers of the Navy supply system were indicted on accusations of conspiracy and making false statements about the May 2021 fuel leak at the Red Hill bulk fuel storage facility that led to the November 2021 fuel spill. A trial is scheduled in the near future, so we will be monitoring this. And as of September 10th, which is the center photo, a total of 1,527 gallons of residual fuel and 361 gallons of sludge were removed from the tanks at Red Hill. As I was gathering information, I did notice that there were some discrepancy on the residual fuel and sludge reporting, specifically in the September timeframe. There is about 1,000 gallon less of residual fuel removed compared to the August reporting on the far left. We did reach out to the Navy Closure Task Force for some clarification, and we're told that they're going to review it and update accordingly. Upcoming events, we do have our community meeting on our new potential monitoring well this Wednesday. Also, the next fuel tank advisory committee meeting is scheduled for October 1st at the State Capitol Auditorium from 1 to 5 p.m. All the FTAC members are asked to be in person so that they can vote to increase the frequency of FTAC meetings. Publics are welcome to attend virtually or in person. More information to come. This concludes my update for the month. I'm available for any questions.
Members, any questions? Ernie, anything else to add?
I think the dashboard, Joyce, if you go back to the dashboard slide, we're so, those changes look like it might be a little confusing, so we're still trying to seek clarification from the Navy, because the purpose of this application, it's an app on your phone, Navy Closure Task Force, Red Hill, is to actually inform the community. But when Joyce noticed the change in numbers, which wasn't clearly explained, I think it's creating confusion because it went from 25,000 gallons of residual fuel down to now 2,500 gallons to down to 1,500 gallons or so. So we'll still seek to get clarification from the Navy.
Sure.
Again, I think their purpose was noble, to put up a dashboard to keep people informed, but to confuse people, I think, is counterproductive.
Absolutely. Any other comments? I just have maybe one for future meetings. The way this reads, right? This item for information is the Board of Water Supply's response to potential impacts of the Red Hill fuel contamination. And I think one of the pieces of this is making sure that we have an opportunity to talk about if there are changes to any of our monitor wells or some of our unused wells now, to any of the contaminants or potential contaminants that we see that are intersecting those wells, and if those are changing. So specifically the PFOA and the PFOS, just keep us posted. I mean, I know when it hits a action level, or if it's at a well that's actually being used, then we have to act. But understanding how some of these numbers are changing over time, I think is important to put into this as well. So if we have new information, it doesn't have to be every month, but if we have new information, let's put it in this line item.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
We also have some testimony. So thank you, Joyce.
Thanks.
If there are no other questions, members, Joyce, you can take a seat. We have two people who are offering testimony today. One is written. Members, you should have it on the sheet that has the testimony cover on it. Please take a look at it. It's from Meredith Wilson, who has written in today. I won't read it, but if there are questions in here, Ernie and staff, make sure that we get back to Meredith.
Yeah, we will.
Okay, I just got this right before the meeting, so I didn't get a chance to read it yet. And then we also have Susan Piccola Davis in-house as well. And so I wanted to invite Susan up to come and testify. Good afternoon, Susan.
Hello. Good to be back.
Come back.
Welcome back.
It's interesting, everything that I have to report on today. And the reason why you didn't get copies of everything was because of this binder.
Okay.
So everything that's in the binder is available to the public from the Christina Jedro Civil Beach story of September 29th. But the first thing I want to talk about is the Restoration Advisory Board. And I want to congratulate Ernie and Joyce as being members, as well as myself, who will be able to speak or vote. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the Floyd some of the things that I'm talking about is probably things that couldn't make it on your agenda for legal reasons. So for me, it's good to present it here as a public person so that everybody on the Board of Water Supplies understand what's going on. So the Floyd Rue indictment, we're hearing a lot about them being being scapegoats, which they're not. They're complicit. And the military prosecutes active duty in the military courts. Now, when I was a federal employee, all employees who swear their oath on their orientation day with their hand up say in unison, the standard oath for federal civil servants is I, Susan Picola Davis, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. That's exactly what they swore to. And I won't say very much more about that. Recently, a story came out on Civil Beat from Christina Jedra. It was on September 29th. And it has, this testimony is for you, Meredith, if you're listening. But there's a new court case, and inside of the Civil Beat story is the exact document that's available right now. And it's called Motion for Sanctions for Spoliation of Evidence. But before I even look at that, I'm going to take us back to December 8th, 2021. Petroleum contamination reported in Navy's Aiea Halava shaft, which we have been hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, that there wasn't. But Department of Health says a level of 920 parts per billion of total petroleum hydrocarbons, diesel range organics was reported by the Navy. Okay, so that's December 8th. December 10th, Department of Health confirms high levels of petroleum contamination in Navy's Red Hill shaft. Sorry. Samples from the Navy's Red Hill shaft contain petroleum hydrocarbons, diesel range organics, 350 times the DOH environmental action levels for drinking water. Inside these two documents are the lab reports from early November. Okay, so we do have lab reports. No, I did not spend last night going there because I just can't. In November of 2022, the Red Hill tank closure plan was presented. And on page 10, it mentions the AFFF fire suppression system, which the Navy will remove as directed in the NDAA and subsequently evaluate the system. The AFFF retention line where fuel was found during the 2021 release has never held AFFF, and no AFFF was released to the aquifer. The importance of this is not to confuse that just because that pipeline was called the AFFF retention line, it did not have AFFF in it and had the fuel from the May 6th spill. Okay. You tell how upset I am. The tank closure plan, supplement 3, page 51 of 269. The important sentence here was that it was later determined that the released JP5 was inadvertently pumped into this overhead fire suppression drain pipeline during the May 2021 release. I only bring you back there because of the new court filing and the motion in which my friend Meredith is involved in sanctions for sports spoliation. Inside this document, there are exhibits 17, of which 2 of them are technical reports, and a few of them are depositions, but they're too light to print, nor did I want to belabor that. It does refer to the Mandy Fight case and how certain things occurred during that led to the plaintiffs receiving less than what we would think of, because they said they could not prove causation, that the chemicals and the spill would cause long-term injuries. This case will determine that. Finding USA actively withheld this information until after the plaintiffs themselves had discovered in existence, and then USA waited until roughly 2 weeks before the close of fact discovery to produce these documents. And the very important thing about the plaintiffs finding the documents was that the documents were actually available from the EPA, and due diligence, which is so important. And anytime you get a document that has a link in it, click it. So from that, they were actually able to go further with their court case. USA has known of the existence of the material since immediately after the November 2021 release, and they have an exhibit for that. During January 31st, 2024, EPA was conducting a site survey. And during this investigation, the EPA discovered that the line still contained the fluid from November 21st, 2021 spill. The EPA pointed out to the Navy that the residual fuel would be important to fully characterize, as it could be very likely representative of the November 2021 release. And then Stephen Chow says, I'm not making this up, this is all in the newspaper, so I'm not revealing anything that's confidential. It appears to be the best sample of the fuel that contaminated the Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hawaii water system in 2021. The deputy commander, and this one was Brigadier General Link, because it was during the Joint Task Force Red Hill and not the closure team. We will document the process and note the chain of custody in anticipation of future litigation discovery. We know the samples from the original spill may not have been taken or are no longer available. We also know that the community has long alleged that the presence of antifreeze in the original spill, which is actually a component of JP5. It's part of the mil spec. But it got lost in the clutter of everything. So Guy Frierson, an employee of ACOM, the Navy's lead technical contractor, advised the team, we will not be collecting sample directly from the AFFF retention line as requested in the EPA correspondence. Instead, USA drained portions of the line into drums, which again, USA could not certify they were clean.
Susan, we're at 11 minutes. And
I know.
I just, I'm wondering if you can help draw the line between the two DOH releases, press releases, as well as the
court,
tank closure plan and kind of where you're heading with this.
the Department of Health on December 8th or December 10th had samples,
Right.
okay?
Right.
What we didn't think of, or what was neglected, was that the assumption that everything in the AFFF retention line had leaked out so that there may not be anything left in there. That wasn't true. And the reason for us thinking that is because everybody was in a panic.
Crisis mode.
Well, from Christina Jedra's tape, we saw the fuel coming from the retention line. We know it flowed for 30 hours. So in a layperson's mind, all of it would have left the FFF retention line. It did not. So essentially, there was a way that they plugged something, okay? Whether it was in the newspaper or in a document is not necessarily important. It's more important for the public to know how we would come to some of these assumptions based on only what we're hearing in the news, and also being withheld from us. The concern is now that they can prove long-term harm. And this goes back to February 6, 2024, letters to Admiral Wade and Admiral Barnett from Region 9, basically telling them how to get these samples from the retention lines. Am I repeating anything that anybody already knows?
No, most of the stuff you bring here is new, and it is super helpful. Which is why I directed the question in that way, because you bring things that have into the public sphere that have asked important questions that ripple through space and time here, not just here at the Board of Water Supply. It goes into query all over the place, and so that's why I want to, as kind of the meeting keeper, I want to make sure that we honor your commitment to doing this work, and not just cut you off at the 2 or 3 minute mark, but also to just want to make sure that because these materials come in at the entry point of the board, that you can help us kind of sew the whole thing together, which you did really well. Thank you for that. And I'm wondering if you have any kind of comments to help.
Okay, so
Together.
in closing comments, or as much as I can, and names are in these documents, so I'm not exposing anybody, but there was a conscious decision by Guy Friesen from ACOM to tell the workers not to collect anything from the AFFF line, subsequently getting drained into these barrels, which nobody can confirm or deny that they were clean. And they did take samples from that. Okay, let's see. Remember that we had 2 task force. We had the task force with Admiral Wayne that was tasked with draining the fuel from the tanks. Remember? That was it, cut and dry. All the pipelines were to be removed through the closure task force. It's not just the fuel pipelines, JP5, F24, and F.76. It also included this AFFF line. So now there's a balance between who, in my mind, whose Culiano was it? I'm leaning towards closure task force. This is my personal opinion. At one point, the confusion starts getting mixed up where somebody is saying, Carnegie, that the EPA's request for PFAS analysis of the samples, and that has nothing to do with really what the EPA was asking. So the confusion gets to PFAS analysis of samples from the retention line and collection drums, and that's February 2024. And there are a list of documents that another person is requested to send in, and there are about 104, 120, 125 of those documents, which have, and they're not here, and there is no link, but they do have the AFFF retention line sampling in it. At one point, there is a directive by Brigadier General Link reinforcing sampling the AFFF retention line before anything is done to it so that they can just get the fuel out of there. As far as I know, and from right here, I don't know exactly what happened because I've got to go back and click on some links to look at the labs. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions.
Members,
Sworn federal servant that's retired now.
members, any questions? Maybe just
Oh, wait. Sorry. I'm so sorry. There's a House of Representatives Special Committee on Red Hill information briefing October 2nd, which is the day after the FTAC. It's on a Thursday. There's no public testimony. It starts at 10 and it's in room 325. And those presenting are Kathleen Ho, Amy Miller, and Claire Trabador. It'll be interesting to see if any of this comes out in it. There's a Red Hill webinar on September 24th from 5 to 6 p.m. And the subject is Red Hill worker and contractor safety. And lastly, returning to the December 10th, 2024 meeting with the Navy, Ernie and our chair attended, unable to be able to say very much, regarding, and with Chris Waldron, regarding the false positives and residual chlorine. I just want you to think about these samples that are that were taken and the claims that were made by the Navy. In my opinion, I don't know that they didn't remove the residual chlorine and say they didn't. Closing.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody think the same thing?
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Susan didn't even bring up the 1,200 gallons of AFFF that leaked out of the facility into the ground.
Oh, man. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Checking with Joy here, are there any other testimony that have come in on this topic while we were here?
No, Chair, no other testimony.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Susan, for your time and attention to this. Could you do me a favor? Actually, these documents that you sent, could you email them over as well so the links are live? Would that be possible?
Yeah,
Thank you. If you could just email it to.
I know why, because you want to be able to click on the blue lines.
Yeah. I want to be able to click on the blue lines. Thank you. We're moving on to item for information number 2, conservation update. Chair recognizes Lorna Heller and Stephen Nordstrom. Aloha.
Good afternoon, Chair and board members. My name is Lorna Heller. I'm from the Water Resources, Water Conservation Branch. And with me today, got Stephen Nordstrom from Communications Office. Earlier on, we did have our consultant, Daniel Chen. He was online, but he had to get off. But he is part of this So during this presentation, you'll get to learn about the Water Sensible program and about Water Smart. And then we'll talk to you more about the advertising and outreach efforts that we're doing. And then we're going to wrap up with the calendar contest, as well as the efforts that we do at the Xeriscape Garden. As you're aware, conservation is one of the single most significant ways we can preserve our precious water resources and water system source capacity. So this slide shows you the success story of our conservation efforts at the Board of Water Supply. So represented here is a bar graph, and in the orange, you'll see the population. So it shows its steadily has been increasing over the past 40 years. So back in 1990, population was 740,000 people. And this coming up, it will close to 1 million people. The blue bars represent water use, and that it shows that up until 1990, water use was increasing right alongside with the population. So Board of Water Supply launched its conservation program in 1990. So you can kind of see by the 1990s circled there that once we established conservation, even though the water use, even though population was increasing, the water use started decreasing. So you can see the blue bars going down. So you can clearly see that conservation is working, and we're saving over 15 billion gallons per year since the program started. The Water Sensible program offers Oahu residents and businesses an opportunity to save water and money. The program started with the residential rebate in 2018, and the program consisted of residential rebates for clothes washers, the toilets, weather-based irrigation controllers, smart water monitors, as well as rain barrels. Our commercial program was launched in 2022, and it's broken up into 4 segments. We've got the kitchen, landscaping, plumbing, and cooling tower. Later on, you'll get to hear Stephen. He'll tell you about a success story for a business that purchased, got some rebates for their cooling tower. Each month, Honeywell will provide us a monthly dashboard of how well the program is doing. So since the inception, this program has resulted in over 93 million gallons of water each year, and we've rebated over 20,000 rebates, which totaled over $1.5 million. The third line in pink represents the more popular rebates that we've had and how many rebates we've issued for each of those items. So we're always interested to see where our customers are purchasing their water efficient fixtures. So this is a pie chart that shows the retailer breakdown. You can see that the majority of our customers are going to Home Depot at 30%, and coming in second is Lowe's at 27%. But since we also offer rebates online, you can see that 3% are actually purchasing their fixtures online and getting a rebate through that way. Another fun fact that we get to see on the monthly dashboard is how people hear about our program. So this chart here shows that 51% is actually hearing about our program at the retailer stores. And then coming second is online at 18%. But something interesting here I want to just point out is that you can see the bill inserts are working, since 7% of our customers are actually hearing about the program through our bill inserts. We want all of our customers to have a very positive experience going through our rebate program. So all the customers that get a rebate, they get an opportunity to respond to a satisfaction survey. So showing is the satisfaction survey, something that we get for our monthly dashboard. Just want to point out that the rebate cycle time on the rebate itself says it's 6 to 8 weeks, but you can clearly see that people are getting their rebates within less than 2 weeks. So I think that's a plus on why everybody that likes this program. So back in 2023, we started the Trade Ally program, which helps to broaden the awareness of the Water Sensible program. This was developed to partner with like-minded businesses that are interested in water conservation and promoting it with their customers. So Board of Water Supply customers can also use it as a resource to find vendors when they need help with their installations. We provide customers access to Water Smart. This is a free online program that allows customers to view their water bill online and get to see their previous bills as well. It also gives customers recommendations on where they can reduce their water use and find out more information on a rebate program, as well as checking for leaks.
So we created the Water Wisdom program as a way to reach out to those that are living in multifamily properties like condos, townhomes, communities serviced by one master meter. And the goal is to provide them a comprehensive toolkit to succeed when conserving water. And through our multifamily outreach, we've partnered with Hawaii Energy and the Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority as a way to help a lot of these different condominiums and multifamily homes to reduce water use and energy consumption through lower interest rates, because we all know interest rates are high, and long-term financing. And through our direct install program, we have worked with a bunch of multifamily properties to have them make those energy as well as water efficient changes where they were able to, we've saved over close to about 12 million gallons of water. We also created a kupuna program where we go out into seniors' homes and that are living independently on their own. We'll make those change outs with water efficient fixtures, making sure everything is efficient. We'll check to see if they have leaky toilets, as well as going over their water bill, just kind of doing analysis so they understand their water bill, those that are paying a water bill directly, as well as explaining our rebate program. And we've had success, and I love success stories. So here's one. It's the Tropicana Village in Aiea. It's a smaller 112-unit townhome, was built in the early 1970s, and they were identified as a high water user. So we reached out to them. We sent them materials. We worked with their management, property manager, and over a 4-month period, we saw a 23% drop in water usage. So very exciting to mention that. And so we also continue to grow our outreach. So as you can see, these are just some of the condos and properties that we've worked with. So we've went to large ones like Country Club Village in Salt Lake, lots of landscaping, to more smaller units, like, as I was mentioning, Tropicana Village, as well as Palms of Kilani and Wahiwa. And while we have lots of great success with the residential side, let's talk a little bit about the commercial side. So the Alakea Corporate Tower, if you're not familiar, that's a commercial building right in downtown Honolulu on the corner of Alakea and Hotel Street. And they noticed their water usage was increasing, and it was due to their cooling tower. So they upgraded their conductivity controller. So if you look at that graph on the screen, you can see water usage was rising. And so that little yellow circle on the top, that is around the time when they switched out their conductivity controller, and they saved about almost 94,000 gallons a month after that upgrade. And you can see that decrease in overall water usage and almost just a little over 11,000 in annual utility savings. And another great success story, this is with a hotel. Now we roll over to hotels. And if you think about a hotel, very similar to a condo in a way, because they operate very similar, because they are trying to reduce operating costs. So the Ramada Plaza, small hotel right across from Fort DeRussy, they noticed that their operating costs were increasing, especially the water and sewer side. And so they had toilets that were 3.5 gallons per flush. And so they switched them all out to WaterSense labeled water efficient toilets, 1.28 gallons per flush. And they noticed a savings of 5,000 gallons a day. It's over $17,000 annual in utility savings. And that was back when our rebate was only $45. So they received a $9,000 rebate, and the payback period was only 10 months. Now, if it was today, $100 rebate, that would have been $20,000 rebate, and they would have had the payback period done in 3 months. And just a quick note about the Ramada Plaza Waikiki is they actually did a self-installation, so they didn't outsource it from anybody. So they did everything in-house.
So throughout the year, we attend trade shows and work with retailers to promote conservation and assist customers about the program's rebate. So this is a picture of our conservation staff as well as Honeywell at an event at City Mill. As part of our awareness initiative, social media has been a key tool to promoting our program. So here are some of the social media rebate messages that we have been using across the platform. These are the types of ads that actually contributed to the 18% of customers that you saw in the pie chart of people seeing it online. Another method to increase awareness is through direct mail. Customers that live in condos and apartments, they don't typically see the water bill, so they don't know about this program. So this was a way for us to reach out to those residents and teach them about our program. So these are actual flyers that were sent out to the urban Honolulu customers due to a market survey indicating these areas had the highest potential for water efficiency upgrades.
So besides our rebates, we also do a lot of marketing. So we attend a lot of events, senior disaster events, other events around town to just educate the community about the rebates and about conserving water. And the ones that are highlighted up there, Detect a Leak Week poster and the poetry contest and our Imagine a Day Without Water are some of our big events that we reach out to the community about. And so Detect a Leak Week, while we should always be detecting for leaks, but this is a week where we do a special little event just to remind the public about the importance of leak detection. And Mayor Rep Blangiardi always does a proclamation ceremony for this event. And then we just wrapped up with Imagine a Day Without Water. And this is our 6th annual event that we did. And the importance of Imagine a Day Without Water is not just talking about the importance of our precious water resources, about the One Water concept. So we had the 6th annual this year. Over 20 government and community organizations participated. We had a bunch of activities, interactive activities, as well as our rain barrel workshop. So a big success this year, and we're very excited about that.
Okay, so since 2009, Board of Water Supply has been partnering with the Hawaii State Energy Office and the State Department of Health for the Hawaii Green Business Program. This free state program assists and recognizes businesses that strive to operate in an environmentally and socially responsible manner. This year, the manager attended the Hawaii Green Business ceremony at Washington Place, and alongside with the governor, he got to recognize 45 businesses and events for their participation and commitment to advance Hawaii's clean energy and sustainability goals. In addition to the rain barrel rebates that we offer through Water Sensible, which we told you about, our conservation team continues to conduct rain barrel workshops. So since 2008, we have been conducting 4 to 5 workshops a year. And as Stephen noted, we were there this past week, Saturday, and we did some workshops for the public at Windward Mall. The difference between this program and the rain barrel rebates is that these barrels are actually recycled and they come from Coca-Cola. The annual calendar contest continues to be a project popular with teachers across Oahu as they weave it into their curriculum, and it touches many areas that they may teach, such as Hawaiian culture, science, and art. In 2025, we had 46 schools submit 997 posters and 15 schools that submitted 357 poems. So the theme for 2026 is everyday conservation, and we're excited to see if you can get over 1,000 posters this year. A lot has been happening at the Xeriscape Garden. So since the beginning of this year, the volunteer group has grown, and they've even started doing some workshops for the volunteers so they can educate them more. On this past August, we did have the annual plant sale, and it went really well, and it was a successful event enjoyed by the public. And to promote Xeriscape Garden even more, we have been doing outreach at the KHON Get Dirty segments, and they continue to do some outreach events for schools, at the parks, and even for different community groups. We want to thank you for the opportunity to share an update from our Water Resources Division and Communications Office on the initiatives and programs that we're developing and implementing to promote conservation. This initiative requires substantial effort and close coordination between our 2 divisions, but it's been a rewarding experience, right? We also would like to extend our appreciation to Honeywell's team for their valuable contributions in ensuring the continued success of the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay right there. We have questions.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for all the hard work. First of all, thank you for all the hard work. The graph on page 4, we're going to come back to that, but that's an awesome graph. But I want to recognize member Andaya. He has his hand up. Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, not so much a question, just basically applauding your efforts. I've been seeing the direct mail pieces and social media efforts as well. So that's great. I did want to comment on the graph, that graph that you just had showing the population increasing and water usage decreasing. I actually talk about that in my continuing education. I have a elective course on water. I talk about that. I don't have a graph like that, so I hope you put that graph there out more and more, because I think it's great. It shows that there's, that it's making a difference, that people's conservation efforts, our efforts, even the low flow toilets and showers, they all make a difference. And I hope we continue to support these efforts. Thanks again. Job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Any other comments? So, first of all, thank you. This is an awesome presentation. This graph, maybe I wasn't paying attention if this graph had come up before, but this is an awesome graph. I wanted to ask you, in your guys' opinion, like people, you got in the field, you talk to people, you interact in all these different ways, like what else should we be doing in this conservation vertical that we aren't doing right now, and why?
We tag team,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Lauren's been working with Honeywell on our custom rebate program. So what the rebates that they showed were prescriptive, yes. So for residential and commercial, you can just, you pick up equipment and then you get a rebate from that through a form process. They're larger potable water users, like Mid-Pacific Golf Course, for instance. And also there's a Kobayashi is building a gray water reuse system for their two high-rise towers, one in Kuala, the other one in Alia in Kaka'ako, where they're taking gray water, so basically shower water, and then filtering it through a water treatment process and using it for, in Kuala's place, to flush toilets with it and irrigate the grounds. And in Alia, it's to filter that and put it for cooling tower makeup water. And it's big enough to have a chill water AC system, yeah. So these don't fall into the prescriptive. So we, Lawrence Group with Honeywell are trying to determine how to do a custom rebate for them based on their water savings. So to provide some incentives to offset some of the capital investment upfront, which is huge on the water treatment side. For Mid-Pac, because there's no non-potable source over there, I've been really cracking my brain to figure out what we're reducing some of their turf, converting the turf to xeriscape and giving them a rebate per square foot of turf that they take out. And so, yeah, Lawrence Group has been, and with Honeywell has been doing that. So if there are other types of custom rebates for these specialty, and in Kool-Aid's place, we're adding the closed washers as well as rain barrels and stuff. So they kind of bundling the prescriptive with the custom together. So
yeah, thank you. I mean, and the reason I asked the question is like, I'm wondering if some of these, especially the ones where you have data where you can like, it actually pencils to do the retrofit and that, and whether or not there's outreach that can be done, not just face-to-face stuff, but like mailers to all of these businesses and these hotels to do just something like that, where it's like, look, we want to figure out how to get the water use down. Like, you know, can we sit down and talk about it so that they have really solid ground at which they can think about how the rebates and the application of less water use then makes sense for them over time.
I'm with Barry. I think landscaping is an area that we really haven't cracked as well as we probably would like to crack. So we're working on some ideas and things to do. The other thing that, and Stephen is responsible for a lot of this, is we really made a huge inroads in the multifamily, which was a market we weren't hitting up. And everyone, just because you live single family, okay, we can reach you, but everybody uses water. And this year, the other market that we were able to start getting inroads into were renters. So through the Hawaiian Council, they've been holding renter resource fairs, and we've been participating in those fairs, and they've been extremely successful, and people are really happy to see us there. So this isn't just about single family conservation. This is about everybody conservation.
Yeah. And the other comment I would make is like, I've gotten to go to the poem and poster contest a couple times, and the creativity of these kids is just unbelievable, right? And I mean, the stuff is really compelling, right? We have it on the walls, and it's, you know, in these different venues, and I'm wondering about like whether or not, right, that all the guys in the condos where this water bill is all, you know, part of your HOA and you don't actually see it, is like those are it's the hardest ones to get, right?
Yeah.
They're closed off. They don't see a water bill. You can't send it to them in the thing, and so like how do you get to them, right? And I'm wondering if it's not like stick as much as it is carrot, and like, hey, put these posters up in the lobbies, and let's like do a campaign that is not recreating the wheel. You have the material, but to really remind people about the conservation effort, you know, in a way that is like, hey, this is the future for the kids. You know, preaching to the choir here, but you know, by show.
Well, we need all the ideas because we're constantly just started a new effort. We're instead of 10%, we're now asking for 20%.
Yeah. And so like we saw that go by, you know, every time he's got to give us bad news about the you know, millions of gallons over the 5-year moving average. Like we pay attention to that, right? The thing climbs back up. And you know, right, in the background, all of you in the gallery, everybody here, by show of hands, how many of you read the article about the PGA leaving Maui because the golf course ugly, right? I'm not a golfer. I don't particularly like appreciate golf courses, but I do appreciate people being able to make a living through the economic activity of some of these things, right? And so we saw last week the direct result of what happens when there's not enough water to be able to hold these venues in a pristine condition that they would need to then come and televise and bring all these people and whack the ball around. And so, understanding the consequences of this is multifaceted and requires all of us to be as creative as possible. But in this instance, you guys are the tip of the spear, right? Because of the data and because of the hard fought wins that show that it can be done. So thank you. Yeah, mahalo.
The ones doing all the magic.
Yeah. And the math is important too. Like we really got to track this stuff as we go, Barry, so that the rainfall, the trade winds, the head level, and then the water use.
And new development too, so that I talked about those two, but we had the manager and our team, the new Alilos Entertainment District, great water reuse there, as well as Evole around the transit-oriented development. Sources is limited, so any way they can use conservation to extend what the capacity we have. Education is a huge thing, so yeah, thank you for all of that.
Yeah, thank you. It's like a really interesting problem set, but the data is showing like it works, so you gotta keep going. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good.
Members, any other questions, comments? Yeah, thank you, folks. Thank you. Yeah.
So Chair, we're going to become more aggressive in this area conservation and look at partnerships with other city agencies also to increase rebate value. And Barry didn't cover it, but we're also, through Barry's leadership, leading in the area of One Water, development of One Water Honolulu, which is part of our efforts. And also trying to move that to a statewide effort through the Freshwater Initiative. So good job, Barry.
Yeah. I mean, the other states have these luxuries of being able to go get resources and borrow from other states, whether it's energy or water, with stuff. We can't even transport the stuff between counties, energy and water. So it's a big deal. We've got to make sure I really appreciate the data that comes here every month, because nobody's making it up. It's like, we're using more and more, and the recharge may be less and less. So we got to figure it out. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and here we go. Item number 3 for information status update at all groundwater levels at all index stations. Chair recognizes Barry Usikawa. Hello, Barry. It's like third time of the day. You're like a record this week.
Sure. That's all nice teeing up the report, because it's we have 6 aquifer index stations in low groundwater condition for August, which is our highest demand, hottest month. Yeah, so this is the worst it gets usually during the year. Pearl City, Waipahu, Kaluanui, Wailua are in caution, low groundwater. Punaluu is in alert status. Kaimuki dipped into critical status, as it usually does, and I'll show you the head level there. The monthly production average for August was 153 million gallons per day. We're getting individual days that are approaching 160, but this is the average over the month. The rainfall index for August was very low, as we had talked about in previous meetings, 18% of normal, with a 5-month moving average of 89%. As of September, the drought monitor shows abnormally dry conditions across Oahu, and there's a map in part of the attachments. It's so abnormally dry and grading to moderate drought across the island there. The National Weather Service is forecasting above normal precipitation beginning in October through February. I hope they're correct. Last year, their forecast didn't quite pan out for a wet winter, and it was dry across the state. Most monitoring wells are exhibiting decreasing head levels because of the high demand and hot weather. And the average production for August is higher than the August of last year and the 5-month moving average. In fact, it's been above that the entire year so far. The rainfall index there, you can see 18% on the right there, which has driven the pumpage higher, 153. And the blue line is above the gray and the green line. So the entire year was higher than normal, which will drive up the average. So it more important to places more important on conservation and awareness, because it's just not raining. And then you see that in West Maui, they're in stage 2 water shortage. We're connecting with their Maui department as well. They're requiring only irrigation once a week, and if your address is in odd, you irrigate one day and even on another day, and it switches from residential to commercial. They can go all the way to stage 4. Some of their water treatment plants have no water, so they're focusing or relying on groundwater wells, and the chlorides are rising because they are, those are the signs of a dwindling supply, of which, we try to monitor all of that as well. So, and then the last one is the drought monitor. This is early September, so, it's yellow. I expect it to turn brown, in the, and this is, I think, August. So let's see what happens in September. But, anyway, that's basically the report. Available for any questions.
Members, any questions? Maybe between Barry and Ernie, maybe you can help describe what the next steps are in terms of calling for conservation, where we at now, and what's the subsequent steps if we still see, we're seeing like, what is that, 8 million gallons a day on average, more than last year, per day. So what are we doing? What's the next steps?
So at this time, we ramped up the request for voluntary conservation from 10% to 20%. And this is still on a voluntary basis.
Okay.
If conditions continue to deteriorate, we may reach in the future mandatory restrictions on water use. We're not there yet. So we're asking people to reduce their water use voluntarily on 20%.
Yeah.
So we're monitoring the situation very closely. Like Barry said, monthly average, the daily average on a monthly basis is 153 million gallons a day. But when we look at it on a weekly basis, actually we're hitting 160 million gallons a day island-wide. We still have 3 wells shut off because of Red Hill. Our Halawa Shaft, one of our largest for Honolulu, also our Halawa and Aiea wells. So with those 2 systems, the Aiea Halawa system, we're looking at it very closely. And right now, because of PFAS contamination at Kaumila wells, we have that well shut off. Unless we reach a dire situation and we needed that water. We're in the process now of installing a temporary water treatment system there. But the Aiea Halawa system demand has risen. And trying to work with the customers there to find out, to encourage them to conserve, especially the larger water users in the Aiea Halawa system. This is from Halawa all the way out to Kaunohi Street area. So those are things that we're watching very closely. Barry, you want to add anything else?
The temporary treatment system at Kaumila will bring that on towards the end of the year. I just wanted to thank Mark Chun because he's the project manager for that treatment process and has been doing all the procurement and the preliminary design and getting the thing up and running. And that system is in alert water shortage because of the loss of that, because we had to turn that off. Once it's back online, it'll get better. In terms of Metro, we're still not in alert yet, but we're monitoring it on a weekly basis. So, it's just getting the word out and being careful about how you use water. And one of the things we're doing in the water master plan is to take a deep dive or really look into unaccounted for water loss in our system, the difference between source pumpage and the collective revenue meters, and getting that percentage lower, or just understanding that better. We're calibrating some of our source meters now, or critical ones, to make sure that it's accurate, because the inputs and outputs got to be accurate.
What matters.
Yeah, and then what field operations is doing in terms of their proactive leak detection and repair. there's less water loss if you can get to it early before there's an emergency main break. There's a lot of construction out in Alva, so, you know, they have to flush and chlorinate all the new pipelines. That takes a lot of water as well. But that's where we have our recycled water system. We're expanding it. Well, we don't have it quite online yet, the elevated reservoir. So it's a pump system directly to the system. So Larna's folks are working on that. There's a lot of temporary potable irrigation that when we turn this reservoir on, this recycled water on, we're gonna convert all of that irrigation because they put the pipes in, they're using potable. We're just gonna sever that, reconnect it to the R1 system.
Right.
And then you'll see a drop once those interconnections are made. So there's a lot of efforts on all fronts trying to extend the capacity we have.
When was the last time we had mandatory water restriction?
I remember that in 1983.
Yeah, I was involved with that too. Yeah,
It's been a while.
yeah.
Yeah, we had it in 83, 93, 2003 for some reason, every decade. 2008 was just in Windward. It was voluntary after that because the mandatory is very difficult to enforce because everyone starts reporting everybody and you got to follow up on that. But that's when we found pesticides in the Waipahu, Mililani, Cuneo wells. Yeah, we had to shut those off.
No.
No, that was TCC,
TCP.
EDB.
BCP.
Yeah. It's contamination caused.
How's the work on the military water users? I know Marine Corps is a big user on the Windward side. How's that coming? I know that we've been in conversation with them for some time.
Yeah, we report their water use quarterly to them. Summer months, they're going to be higher, but overall, the annual water use cannot exceed 2 million gallons per day by contract or contractual agreement. But through Ernie's efforts, manager's efforts, we got them to wrap up their recycled water plans. So they just issued an environmental assessment to upgrade the wastewater treatment plant and use the R2 water for the golf course. They have to still meet DOH rules on that because the rules changed. But then overall, turning that plant into an R1 facility and then irrigating the entire base, you know, with R1, that'll be a big deal because then all the current irrigation is all from wells. And the more we draw from certain sources, the more impacts to streams and cultural practices and stuff. So there's this whole, you know, benefit through line that if you conserve on the base, you'll conserve water, you save on your bill, but there's also benefits to the environment and the communities and stuff. So we continue to make those messages, continue to remind them about that. And manager's been championing that from the get-go.
It's a team effort. The Marine Corps base is our largest single customer in our entire water system.
Right.
And they represent a significant part of the usage on the windward side of Oahu. So I just want to acknowledge also the support of our congressional delegation. They've been supportive.
They've been funding that stuff up.
Of getting the funding necessary to move that project. And also the base commander has been very supportive, placing that project as a high priority for their base.
Colonel Beavens, yeah.
Yeah. Even with the previous base commander, Komparakis. Yeah.
I think I gotta go play golf in Marmanalo.
Oh, okay. Olamana.
Lamana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, conservation team.
Yep. Thank you. In the trifecta here, moving on to number 4, the water main report for August 2025. Chair recognizes Daniel Lee. Daniel, how did we do?
Good afternoon, Board Chair.
Uh-huh.
We did pretty good. Like average, we had 36. Oh, good afternoon, Board Chair members. I'm Daniel Lee, Acting Assistant Program Administrator for Field Operations. I have the water main and leak detection reports for the month of August. We had 36 main breaks, 15 were leaks, 20 were breaks, and there was 1 damage. For our leak detection report, we had 80 points of interest. We found 66 leaks. 3 were on the main, 49 were meter coupling leaks, and 11 leaks on the customer side and 3 service leaks. Are there any questions?
Like Barry said, you know, there's this program and is extremely important. It's one of the range of solutions that we work on hard and leveraging technology. And they've been active at looking at different technologies also that might improve our ability to find and fix leaks in the system. Thank you.
Members, any questions?
If there, I wanted to say, Chair, one more thing too.
Yeah.
You know, we recognize Wayne Tello as Employee of the Year.
Yeah.
And Danny was the idea of that special coupling for concrete cylinder pipe. Did that come from Wayne? And
Yeah, he was one of the people that recognized and talked to the vendors about its use. Because prior to that, repairing concrete cylinder water mains required intensive repair with welders and
butt straps.
It took a very, very long time. And we worked with our vendors to find products that would make it more efficient to repair.
So you can actually splice out the damaged section of pipe and put in a new section of pipe.
Yes, we can splice it in with a section of ductile iron, so it's almost like a regular main break repair.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is. I remember the main break in Waimanalo and the welding that had to go on until.
Yeah, the one by Kaneke site thing.
Yeah, I think it went on nearly a week, so that was a very painful time for the community.
Yeah, thank you for all the effort. Yeah, Mahalo, and tell Wayne get better soon.
Thanks to me as soon as it's
Don't remind him, you get homework, huh?
Wheelchair, bro, wheelchair.
Okay, are there any other matters before the board today that we need to address? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, John.
I will second it.
Thank you, Gene. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Hearing none? We adjourn. Thank you so much.